Welcome to the Orange Nation podcast. I'm your co-host, Gavin Bender, and with me today is my co-host, Tim Freilich. Say what's up, Tim.
What's up? We have a lot to talk about with a big week of action in the Big 12 Conference, along with some games that came as a surprise to many last week in the college football world, including OSU possibly getting on the right track.
We sure hope so. Now that you guys are all settled in, let's get straight into it. Oklahoma State is hosting the Kansas Jayhawks tomorrow at 2:30. Kansas star quarterback Jalen Daniels has been officially ruled out for the game. This should lead to a defensive battle at Boone Pickens Stadium. The offense will struggle all night. We have seen what OSU's offense looks like, and it's not very impressive at all, scoring just one offensive touchdown last week. KU coach Lane LaPole did not have much enthusiasm in his interview. Here's what he said about his QB.
Not jail, not practice today. And I haven't gotten an update yet, so we need to be honest there. But for the most part, there's evaluation, there's conversations.
The quarterback situation for Kansas does nothing but destroy their regular scheme, as we saw when they played in Austin.
Speaking of games last week, the OSU K-State game showed us the Big 12 might be more competitive than originally thought. OSU took the lead 26-7 with just under 5 minutes left in the third quarter and seemed to be in control throughout the entirety of the game. Yet OSU left the Cowboy faithful on the edge of their seats, barely getting a win in a 29-21 victory against the Wildcats. Here is what Coach Mike Gundy had to say about the Cowboys not giving up a sack last week.
Offensive line played really good, covered guys up, did a good job of protecting him, moved them around some. The challenge for us now is to do it again.
The offensive line has been one of OSU's biggest problems all year, but with the offensive line playing solid, that led to more scoring opportunities, even if they didn't end up with 6. Redshirt freshman defensive back Cameron Epps made the biggest play of the game with a pick 6 with 34 seconds remaining before halftime. That was one of 3 interceptions on the night thrown by K-State quarterback Will Howard, who only completed 44% of his passes. Epps was awarded Big 12 Newcomer of the Week in his 2-interception performance against the Wildcats. Here is what Mike Gundy had to say about him.
Most of the time, guys like that early in their career that have the ability to finish plays will do that throughout their career. And so we're excited about where he's at.
Gundy sure does sound happy with his defensive back. There are a total of 4 Big 12 matchups, but Oklahoma State is the only team hosting this week that is considered an underdog. Vegas is not riding with our boys this week. But who cares? They had us as underdogs last week. We do not care. The Cowboys are going to show up and show out. All right, we have 4 total Big 12 matchups this week, so we're going to start off with this Iowa State-Cincinnati breakdown. Iowa State looks good right now. Yes, they struggled in non-con, but they're traveling to Cincy, and I like Cincy at home, but that's just a really hard place to play. Their defense has looked really good. Their passing defense has looked really good. They shut down a few teams, including OU, in the past game. What you think, Tim?
For Iowa State, I just really cannot get over that loss to the University of Ohio. We're not talking about Ohio State. We're talking about the University of Ohio earlier in the year. Controversial call at the end of the game, but still a 10-7 loss. The TCU and BYU game after that. TCU, they are definitely, in my opinion, the hardest team to read in the Big 12. They've shown flashes of being good this year. They've shown flashes of being bad. They're definitely not the same team that you saw in the national championship last year. That was obvious. I do still believe that they have a reason why they were the preseason 17th ranked team in the country. So what do you think about the BYU team?
So, yeah, you're right. TCU was ranked 17. Yes, they lost a lot of players to the league, but they are still very talented. They're not putting it together, but yeah, you're right about that roster. They look good. I really like BYU. They are a defensive-first team in an offensive-first conference. That's not something we're used to seeing. They went to Fayetteville and put the smacking down on Arkansas. Dominated offense, dominated defense. They are a legit team. Yeah, they're 4-1. They look really good in the Big 12, and I don't know if TCU, with how shaky they've started out, can hang with them. So on that note, we have Coach Sataki, who has his breakdown of what's going to happen this week.
I'm going to give them our best shot. We know we'll get theirs, and we'll just live with the results after that. So.
All right, our next conference game we have set up is the Kansas State versus Texas Tech preview. This one could really go either way. I like that it's at home for Tech. So with this 2-1 start, I think they're going to put everything into their university, into their football program to finally get to that next step, maybe go to a Big 12 championship this year. What you got on K-State, Tim?
I think you are right about the Texas Tech part of it, too. You know, you haven't seen them be really good since they had, like, Graham Harrell and Michael Crabtree as players on their team. As for K-State, they're definitely not the same team that we saw last year that won the Big 12 championship. They're not the same without Deuce Vaughn and Adrian Martinez. However, I do think they're going to bounce back and get a 34-31 victory against Tech. It's going to be a close game, though. What's your score prediction on that one?
I think Tech at home just really gets it done. I think they win 30-20. Now, what's your thoughts on the Iowa State-Cincy final?
Iowa State, Cincinnati. I have Cincinnati winning that 28-17 pretty easily.
Yeah, not much disagreement there. I got Cincy winning by a touchdown, 31-24. All right, this is the hardest one. We had the biggest disagreement on this one. BYU, TCU. Tell me what you got, Tim.
I'm going to take TCU 37-20. Probably a bigger score differential than you're going to think, but I like TCU in this one. I think they match up pretty well. What about you?
Yeah, so the over and under is totally off on us. You're hitting 57 total points, and I'm hitting 23 total points. I got a defensive showdown. BYU squeaks out 13-10 in Fort Worth.
It is still the Big 12, so I don't think much defense is played usually.
All right, last one. Game of the week for the Big 12, OSU versus Kansas. Tell me what you got.
I'm going to take OSU in overtime in this one, 33-27.
Man, I like your score. Overtime's a bold prediction. I don't think it's going to go that far. I think we'll be up 27-16 going to the fourth quarter, and then Kansas will score a late touchdown to bring it back, 27-23 final, but we're going to hold them off at the end. Well, guys, that does it for me and Tim. Thank you all for listening in. Hopefully you can catch us next week at Orange Power Nation, and we are out.